house without a Christmas tree. This is my Adam Sandler impersonation. You guys know Adam Sandler?
Yeah.
Here's a list of people that are rich. Just like you had me, daily right, lights like Nora, so do change. That's pretty good. See, we've been traveling for like 25 months straight, and so we get really bored on the road. And I like to try to do voices. That's what I do. So that's why I have. Have you guys seen Lord of the Rings?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, little shit. You gotta check this voice out. No, Smeagol. Max is a friend. That was fresh weekend. That's crazy. Right? And then I realized something the other day. You know the rapper Shaggy? All the girls think he's got like a hot voice. I think it's the same guy. Because this is the guy from Lord of the Rings. Sounds like no, Smeagol. And then here's Shaggy. Watermelon. See, down here again. The watermelon. I think it might be the same guy. Yeah, we came here last year. There was a bunch of students. I actually noticed that I signed that stool over there. But when we got the email that we got to come back here, we were actually so excited. It's actually one of the favorite shows that we've ever done. It was just me and my guitarist that were here, but it was just this really cool atmosphere. I had a chance to take pictures and ask you guys ask questions. We'll do that again later. If you guys have questions you want to ask us, I'll give you the chance later on. And we wrote a bunch of new songs too, because basically as we've been touring, we've met with so many young people. We've been to a lot of places like this one, and we've seen the issues that people are dealing with, and we've written songs together with people who are based on stories. Last time I was here, a bunch of people gave me poetry, and I brought that home, and it was just blew my mind reading the talent that was here and the stories that people had written, and it was a big inspiration to me to write some of the music that we've written. So we're going to play some of these new songs for you today, and we're going to tell our story. I know some of you were here last time when I shared my story, but for those of you who weren't, the whole reason that we do what we do, the reason our band was called Live on Arrival is because when I was 17 years old, we all grew up in Manitoba, but I was in this car accident. Me and my friend, he just got his license. He was 16, I was 17. We're going down these icy Manitoba roads, and he's going like 120. He's pulling out past all these cars. Everybody else was going like 30 because the ice was so bad. And we pulled out to pass one last car, and there was a semi-truck coming that just came over the border from the U.S., and he was going full speed. So my friend hit the brakes, he was driving, and we just started sliding. We hit this semi-truck head on and crushed the front of our car. And our car started spinning, and the trailer, the semi-truck came right over top of the car. And it ripped the roof right off of our car. And I was sitting in the back seat right behind the driver, and the trailer ripped the trunk right off of our car. So I fell back right where the trunk used to be. And my friends, they all ran from the car because they thought it was going to explode like it does in the movies. That doesn't really happen. And they looked back and they saw that the snow was just filling with blood. And it was pouring out of the side of my head. I lost the side of my skull. And it's weird, we just spoke at a school a few months ago in Manitoba, and one of the students went home and he told his dad, "Oh, you wouldn't believe this story about this, what happened, this guy got hit by a semi." And this parent, just his jaw hit the floor, because he was the first responder. He was the one that pulled up to the accident site. He just took a first responder's course. So I just did coffee with this guy a few months ago, and it was weird, because he still thought I was dead. Because I had no pulse, I wasn't breathing. He says he remembers holding my head like this, my body was laying that way, and he said he could look right in, he could see my brain. There was no skull there. So they called my parents, and they said, "We're so sorry, but your son was killed in a car accident, and we're bringing his body to Winnipeg." So they're bringing my body to Winnipeg. My parents are coming to see it, and on the way my pulse came back and I started breathing, which was the first of many miracles. So they get me to the hospital and they said, "Well, we'll put his head back together with titanium. We'll screw it all back together, but he's never going to wake up." And I did it for a while. They screwed it all back together and I kept breathing and my heart was beating, but I was in a coma. And finally one day I woke up and they said, "Well, he's never going to remember who he is or anything," and I didn't. So every time I woke up, they'd see if I remember anything. They're like, "What's your name?" I'd be like, "Jose." "Do you know where you're from?" "Jess, I'm from California." They're trying to see if I remember anything. They're like, "Do you know why you're in the hospital right now?" "Jess, I hurt myself surfing." "No." And then then I'd wake up the next time and they'd be like, what's your name? Steve! And every time I woke up it was something different. I didn't know who my parents were. I didn't know who I was. And this is the crazy thing about a bad head injury like that, is it erases your temporary memory. So it erases the last couple of days. So I don't remember that car accident. I don't remember getting into the car. I don't remember that day or the day before. My last memory is I'm sitting in class just like you guys, looking at my teacher, and all of a sudden my memory shuts off. And then all of a sudden it turns back on and I'm laying in a bed. And my brother was standing there and I looked at him and I said, what the heck just happened? And he looked at me and he's like, Rob? And I said, yeah. He said, you got hit by a semi-truck. I'm like, what are you talking about? When? Last thing I knew, I just did my hair and went to school, right? He goes, you got hit by a semi-truck in winter time. And I said, it is winter time. He's like, no. He opens the curtains and he shows me it's summer outside. It's like almost 4 months later. I was like, what? And he said, feel your head. And I went like this. Last thing I knew, I did my hair, I went to school, and I went like this, and I felt my head, and all I felt was metal holding my head together. And I tried to get up and run to the bathroom to look in the mirror, and I couldn't walk. It was just everything was taken from me. And I was, you can tell I'm a tall guy, I was super athletic, I was the captain of every sports team, I was getting scouted, I thought my life was going to be sports. And all of a sudden this happens. I was so mad, so bitter. Why does this have to happen to me? I thought my life was over. I thought, what am I supposed to do now? I couldn't finish high school. Couldn't get into college. Couldn't get into university. None of my high school wasn't finished. I couldn't do any physical labor. I couldn't get a job because of all of my injuries and stuff. And I was so angry about it. So angry. And people told me that it was fate, that, oh, this is just your destiny, I guess. The bullet had your name on it, or in this case, the semi-truck. And then all of a sudden I realized one day, you know what? Stuff is going to happen in our lives. We're all going to go through some rough days. I had a pretty rough day that day. All of you are going to have rough days. Some of you probably already have. And then you got to decide what you're going to do with it. So I decided right there, I'm like, am I going to sit here and just be angry? I got more surgeries coming up in the next couple months, and I could still be sitting at home just bitter and angry about all the stuff that isn't better with me and why I can't do this and this, you know. But I just decided, no, I got a second chance at life. I got to do something. And guess what? My first day that I decided to wake up, I said, I'm going to do something with my life today. I don't care that everybody says my life is over and I can't do anything. And guess what? You know, sometimes you hear that voice inside of you. You know what I'm talking about? Like, oh, I shouldn't have eaten that Vaseline. You know what I'm talking about? That little voice. I heard this little voice and I said, I want to do something today. And guess what? I didn't hear this voice inside me say, go to Africa, build a will. You know? But you know what I heard that voice inside of me say? I heard it say, find the semi-driver, phone him and tell him you're okay. I was like, what? So I phoned the police and I said, hey, can I get the name of the semi-driver that killed me a few years ago? They're like, no. I'm like, okay, I tried. And this voice wouldn't leave me alone inside. Finally, I got a hold of this one police officer. Gave me this guy's name. He's from Wisconsin. I phoned him and I said, is this so-and-so? And he said, yeah. And I said, do you remember that accident up in Canada a couple of years ago? He got really quiet. He started crying. Big trucker starts crying. I said, I just felt like I should call you and tell you that I'm okay. I survived. I made it. And he starts crying. He says, I'm just so sorry about your friend. I said, what friend? He said, the one who died and lost his skull. I said, no, that's why I'm calling. That's me. And this guy lost it. And I found out he was in therapy. He was on medication. He hadn't driven a vehicle since that day. The accident wasn't his fault. But it was like this cloud was over top of him. And we talked for 2 hours. And you could feel this cloud just go away. The guy was smiling again for the first time in his life, you know? I was like, what? I'm like, that's it? I hung up the phone with him. I'm like, I can do that. I can do little things like that. And then we decided, okay, let's go do something with our lives here. What better way to do it than through music? What better way to tell stories? So we started this band. First album, second album, third album, fourth album, got our record deal. We're getting to do all the big tours like you saw there. And we were just waiting for the chance to sit down and do something like this. And people think it's all oh, I can't believe you left your record deal to do this, but I wouldn't trade it back for a second. This is what I love to do. And like Mark said, most of the time, last time I was here, I was just sitting on stools with guitars, but this time I was able to bring my band. You guys mind if we play some music for you? Yeah. This is my band.